Hi everybody. This week's topic is kids and YouTube, which is appropriate because I keep putting my kids on YouTube. I can't help it. They're my children. I am biased towards them.
So Clark, how do you feel about YouTube? Do you know what YouTube is?
No.
YouTube is the platform that we watch a lot of things on, and you know what the thing is about YouTube?
What?
You can make whatever videos you want and then put them online for anybody to see. So some of the videos that I've made of you and Rosie, I put them online so that Mimi can see them and Nana can see them. Is that cool?
And Papa.
And Papa, yeah.
But putting your kids on YouTube has a lot of ethical implications. And I've thought through many of them and I've completely ignored others. But in this video, let's delve into the relationship between kids and YouTube in a little bit more depth.
Kids and YouTube. This is a really big topic.
Not unlike the way that we can trace the serious study of radio and television to soap operas and concerns about what impressionable audiences, aka women, are watching and the influence that those texts might have over them, we can trace the serious study of YouTube to concerns about what children are watching and what kinds of influences YouTube videos might have over kids. I mean, I'm a media historian and I worry about this too. Look at these kids.
It's a Neptune kind of day. A Neptune kind of day. There's a crazy.
What are they watching? I don't know. I do. I know what they're watching. I'm very careful about what I let them watch, I promise you. But as a parent, I want to know that what my kids are watching is good for their brains. It's not giving them screen sickness. That's screen sickness. That's what we call it in our house. When you try to take a tablet away and they won't let you take it away. It's screen sickness. But this is the latest in infinite scares over what influences our children. I mean, we can trace it back to dime novels, to the pain fund studies and the Hollywood production code. We can look at Frederick Wortham and the comic book code. All of these things are worth looking up if you're not familiar with them already. But there's a long history of us being concerned about what mediated representations are supposedly influencing our children. So that's really where we start here in the relationship between YouTube and kids. This basic fear that we are not vetting, or we don't understand, or we disapprove of the things that our children are watching. All right. Now, when we're talking about kids and YouTube, we can break this huge topic up into a few kind of related subcategories,
Which are all obviously interrelated. First of all, we can think about kids and the concept of privacy in online spaces and especially on YouTube. There are a lot of implications to COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and some of these requirements that come down from the federal government have influenced this second point, YouTube's own attempts to protect kids from predators. But we're also talking here, with regard to privacy, about the ethical implications of putting kids on YouTube.
So do you think that's a good thing that we can all put up whatever videos we want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's good too.
Back to the second point here, YouTube has attempted to protect kids from predators in a lot of different ways, and predators can mean a lot of different things, right? We're either talking about people watching videos and using those videos for nefarious purposes, or consciously manipulating children's programming in order to have a negative influence on kids. And I'm going to link to a TED Talk on that that's going to go into way more detail than you ever wanted to know. But YouTube Kids has been a part of YouTube's attempt to protect children, right? YouTube Kids is a vetted space in which, in theory at least, all content should be appropriate for younger children. The other issue here is the silencing of comments sections. As many of you probably know, comments sections were being used by pedophiles in order to direct other pedophiles towards content. And once YouTube figured this out, they sat on it for a long time And then there were enough exposés that called YouTube out for not keeping their house in order that YouTube just cut out all comments sections on videos that were oriented towards children. The third issue here has to do with children's consumption of YouTube and the concept of mobile parenting. For that, you should look at the Burroughs article that I gave you. There are a lot of criticisms of the way in which we now hand our children a tablet or a phone in order to keep them quiet for a few minutes while we're trying to, for instance, edit a video for an online class. Not that I would ever do that. Now, in the interest of brevity, I'm going to link to YouTube's own video about COPPA and how it affects YouTube creators. And instead, I'm going to skip down to point number 3 here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Burroughs article that I gave you guys to read. Burroughs defines the app economy, and he argues that algorithms now have greater access to younger and younger children than ever before. And there's a lot of reasons for this. You know, we talk about the rise of mobile parenting, and, you know, I'm not trying to shame any parents in particular. I am one of these parents, and I know all y'all out there with no kids are going to say, watch everything your kids watches, but when you're in the trenches, you'll know. You'll know. Anyway. But he talks about the way in which parenting practices are changing, and we have more digital technology that's mobile than ever before. But the most important part here for the purposes of his argument is the constitution of young children as a targeted demographic and an imagined audience. So he writes that algorithms are part of an assemblage of mobile media infrastructure and design, which combines the social and technical into a data ecosystem that seamlessly connects users' preferences and predilections with conglomerates. Now, this we're going to talk a little bit more next week. But given that YouTube, through the YouTube Kids app, has access to children's preferences, positioning them as consumers of content, they can serve as a kind of a surrogate parent.
That means that children are subjects of data mining, they can be directly marketed to, and they are known in a way that no previous generation has been by marketers, by conglomerates, by companies. By the way, I should say that in the 1980s, there was legislation about this. There was a spate of television series based on toys. You should be thinking Transformers, Rainbow Bright, G.I. Joe, all of the good stuff that I remember from my childhood. These shows so transparently marketed to children that a group sprung up, the ACT, the Action for Children's Television, to argue that this kind of direct marketing to children, impressionable people who lacked critical thinking skills, should be legislated. And eventually in 1990, we have the Children's Television Act, which makes a lot of the practices that we see today, this direct marketing to children, illegal. But hey, YouTube's not television, right? Check this out.
Ugh, YouTube blocked my clip of Ryan's World. I don't know why I'm surprised by this. Anyway, the clip that I was going to show you was Ryan being led into a room where there's a sheet of all of these toys that are now available for you to purchase at Walmart. But I will link to the episode of Ryan's World that I'm talking about in the description.
Ryan could buy and sell every single one of us 25 times over. I should also say that Ryan and his family are now making interstitials for the Disney Channel. I saw that the other day. Now, lest you think that I am throwing an undue amount of shade at poor Ryan and his family. Okay, fine, fair. Because Ryan is creating something. Ryan's team is creating something. The way in which Ryan interacts with the world around him suggests a kind of imagination. Is it his creative voice? Is it the creative voice of his team? Who could really know for sure? I mean, and that's part of the research that I'm interested in. But the fact remains that YouTube remains a place where children can make their own creative productions, and we can put them online for a greater audience. Here's my kids being creative.
I'm Big Elsa.
And where are you?
I'm in my ice palace
All right. And why are you up there?
because I like staying in my ice palace. People want candy and the pumpkin and the pumpkin bags. Anyone else?
They don't hate this. I don't think that they do. But I'll be the one paying for their therapy bills later. So let's not worry about it right now. I really recommend the Lange book, and especially that chapter that I assigned to you if you're interested in looking into the ways in which kids use YouTube as an outlet for creative expression. That's real. That potential for expression, that potential for growth and for connecting to an audience, that is real. And so we shouldn't necessarily give it short shrift. So what I'd like you to do for this week's discussion board is to think about some of these issues that I've raised here and to read at least one of those readings, the Burroughs reading, the Lange reading. I gave you other choices as well. And I would like you to comment upon the relationship between kids and YouTube that you see developing and that some of these authors have drawn your attention to. How did YouTube influence your childhood? I would especially like to see your reactions to the TED Talk that I have linked to, because there's a whole dark side of YouTube and its relationships to children, and it is fascinating. And I would like to hear your reactions to that and your thoughts on what YouTube should be doing in order to protect children and yet give them this outlet for creative expression at the same time. Okay, either comment below or come to the discussion board on Canvas to talk about this further.